Hey everybody, I'm your Rusty Mechanic, and today I'm going to take a little bit of a break from what I normally review, whether it be Masterpiece or Legend Scale figures, and I was wandering through my local Toys R Us, yes we do still have them here in Canada, and lo and behold on the shelf I saw this guy, Studio Series 86 Blaster and Eject. These are characters of course from the original Transformers G1 cartoon, specifically the Studio Series 86, this is from Hasbro. They are taking characters from the original Transformers the movie, the original animated movie that was based on the Transformers G1 cartoon. So I'm going to take a dive into this guy because again it just looked really good on the shelf, and I've never actually done a CHUG review, so this will be my first CHUG review, so congratulations if you're watching this is my first CHUG review. But before we do get into it, of course, I do just want to remind everybody, if you do like these review videos that I do, please go ahead and hit that like button down below. It really helps out a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well and hit that little bell notification icon so you get notified every time that I release one of these new videos. And also, before we get into this, you might notice that behind me, some of my shelves are a little bit more empty than usual. And that's because I'm heading down to New Jersey this weekend to hook up with a whole bunch of other people from the Realm of Collectors group. If you're not a part of the Realm of Collectors group, go ahead and check out the Facebook group. Really, really fun bunch of guys and girls. And every year, they typically get together at the New Jersey Comic-Con that is happening this weekend. So I've decided to go ahead and drive all the way down to New Jersey, hook up with them, meet them for the very first time, and actually get to know these people that I've met and come to know and love from doing Do You Even Transform Bro podcast show that we do every other Tuesday on the on their YouTube channel. So please go ahead and check out the Realm of Collectors Facebook group and the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. If you like listening to me talk about Transformers and other things, I got 3 other guys that like to talk about them just as much as I do. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so as usual, just going to do a quick check of the box. I really, really like this artwork that's going on, or the box art on the Studio Series boxes. For the ones that I have seen, again, this is the first one I've ever actually had in hand, but for the ones that I've seen online or, other reviewers and stuff, their box art always looks really, really good. So I'm really, really enjoying these depictions of these 2 characters, again, Blaster and Eject. It is from Hasbro, also licensed by Takara Tomy, right? So this is official stuff, nothing third party. Quick look at the side, we got the same artwork, just a little bit more interesting or bigger, right? Blaster and Eject here. This is considered a Voyager class figure. I haven't figured out the Voyager class, Leader class, Deluxe class stuff yet, but maybe I will do more reviews of these because I did enjoy this figure a whole bunch as I was initially taking a look at him. Some cool stuff on the back, for the parents or the kiddos or wherever you want, write a description of each figure, how many steps it takes to transform it. Eject takes 8, Blaster takes 20, what's in the box. Whatever. That's not what we're here to look at. And again, more very cool artwork. I do also like this indentation thing with the 86, right? There's like a that's part of the insert, which we'll look at as well. Authentic logo down here. The other thing I don't like about the Studio Series stuff in this, and I know others have complained about it, but I'm going to reiterate, is this open, you can actually grab the figure here. So I'm not sure what the thinking is here. I don't know if they're saving on plastic or something. I have no idea. Before I do get into the unboxing, I will note, I've obviously already taken this guy out because I did a short for this guy of an unboxing and a transformation, right? So he's loose in the box. But the Studio Series figures are typically, they're like tied down with rubberized plastic straps or whatever. So yeah, they don't, just float around in the box like this. They are actually secured inside. Anyway, with all that being said, let's go ahead and pop this box open. I'll just pull out. Actually, no, I guess I can't. Let me just get the figure out of the way. Where's Eject? He's in here somewhere. There he is. There's Eject. Typically, that's the insert, and so all these little holes that you see here is how he would be strapped into the packaging like this. The gun fell out in the box. I'll grab that in a sec. Eject was strapped in over here like this. And this is what the display insert looks like, which we'll get into in a second. But I'll just put this aside for now. And you can hear the gun rattling. There it is. So just put that guy over there, and there's the gun. So there we go. Obviously not looking like the toy at all, but a very cool rendition of Blaster nonetheless. We'll get into, I can just leave the Blaster there. We'll take a look at that in a sec. Again, the thing that caught my attention is when this was sitting on the shelf and I was just walking through Toys R Us and I looked over and I saw him. I was just instantly taken in by, I mean, all you're seeing is this part of the figure. But I mean, this is a really cool, kind of stylized, right? I mean, obviously, this isn't what Blaster looked like in the cartoon or in the movie, so it's a little bit stylized. It's almost got that the Netflix series War for Cybertron look and feel to it, right? But it's just very very cool for a Chug or mainline figure of this scale. Take a look at the head sculpt. Right, again, like that's Blaster, right? That you remember from the cartoon, regardless of whether or not the rest of this figure is more, stylized Cybertronian, let's say. But that's a very decent painted face sculpt. Now the red on the figure is not painted. Like the red throughout all this is just red molded plastic. But there are painted parts on this, regardless. The top of the head and the face is painted. The blue in the eyes is painted. This entire chest piece is completely painted, including the light and dark grays in the center. There is some red that's painted, like this in the legs. It looks like the speakers are painted as well. There's some painting going on in the details in the field, like these red dots, those are all painted. So for a mainline figure to be painted at all, right? Obviously Hasbro didn't have to do that. I think the feet might actually be painted too, and they're a little thicker plastic, probably for weight. But obviously, Hasbro didn't have to paint this at all, right? They could have just left it completely molded plastic. So that's kind of impressive again for a mainline figure like this. Feel free to leave any comments down below, guys, about what you think, or correct me. Obviously, I haven't touched a Chug figure in years, so this is going to be a new experience for me all around. Some features are like standard stuff with Blaster, right? So this entire button array is one big button that you can press in, and it opens his chest. And of course, Eject will very easily slide inside. And I say that, of course, and then it does. And I did just retransform. So sometimes, depending on if you don't quite have him lined up, he doesn't fit in the chest, I have found. It's not like I have him. Okay, maybe I have him in backwards then. That's funny. Anyway, does fit in the chest, obviously, and you can close it up and then press the button again, and it will eject. Let me just, give me 1 sec. There's something wrong here, because this should pop open. Okay, there, now he fits in properly. Sure. There we go. That's how it's supposed to be. So it is, I was right. He does go in with his Autobot logo facing forward, which makes sense, right, from the toy. Oh, he just hooks up in the back sometimes. Okay, anyway. So there. So, again, you can break the form away like that and position the hand so that you can have that pose of him pushing the his button array to eject. So I thought that was kind of neat. Again, just it sort of pulls on the nostalgia strings when you're playing around with something like this. Let's do some articulation. There's some very basic articulation with this, obviously, again, being a mainline figure. But still, like some really good posability, given the fact that it is a mainline figure. So the head is on a ball. It is on a ball joint, right? So you can actually get some head tilt poses. He does look forward a bit. He does look back a bit. So no complaints there. Shoulders will go out 90 degrees, but that is it. No butterfly or anything in here. Looks like it is probably just a mushroom joint in here to give us 360 degrees around. We do get a bicep swivel. We do get a 90-degree elbow bend. We do have a waist swivel, which is nice. There is no ab crunch, unfortunately. Again, not asking for a lot out of a mainline figure. There is, he does have a butt flap. It is part of the transformation. So if you flip that up out of the way, his legs do go back that far and they come forward all the way and they do go out all the way. We have a thigh swivel, 90-degree elbow bend, or elbow bend, 90-degree knee bend. That's a knee, Rusty. And we even have an ankle tilt, which is, again, very nice to see in a mainline figure like this for the cost that you're paying for a figure like this. That's solid stuff for me, honestly. It's actually more than what I was expecting. I'm not really sure what I was expecting, but I guess I was expecting less. Like I wasn't expecting the arm rotation. I wasn't expecting the thigh rotation. I was expecting this to be very stiff, limited in its posability. I was completely wrong, and I am pleasantly surprised. So I am really, really liking this guy. We'll take a look at Eject after. I'll go through both transformations, and then we'll take a look at Eject afterwards. Real quick, though, this is the only accessory he comes with, but I've got to tell you that this is the other thing that impressed me was the detail that is going on in this rifle. Obviously, nothing like what we got with the original toy. I don't think anything like we saw within the cartoon, the movie, nothing. But this is some very cool, like there's lots of details going on. Long barrel, almost looks like a sniper rifle, but there's definitely like a sniper scope going on here. There's lots of details in here, like like focus dials on top, focus dials on the side. Various areas here looks like it might be, casing ejection ports. You got a rifle butt with a lot of cool detailing, like something that looks like it would come from Cybertron, right? Along with very similar to some of the details we're seeing on this as well, right? We got details in the shoulders and the forearms and the shins and stuff that looks like this might be an actual Cybertronian, right? Like we'd expect. But anyway, very cool stuff, and obviously it pegs into either hand. And what I do like about this rifle and what they've done is, even with the 90-degree elbow bend, right, the rifle is not impeding that 90-degree elbow bend at all. So they've made it a nice length that it fits on the forearm and allows the rifle butt to touch up against the shoulder without impeding that 90-degree bend. So that's a nice touch on detail and thinking and engineering and all that stuff. There's a number of various ports. I remember watching, again, go ahead and throw some comments down below if you want to educate me, guys. But I know people when they buy mainline or buy Chug figures, they always talk about the various, I guess these are 5mm ports on the back. I'm not sure. But obviously you can peg that into anywhere on his back. He's got multiple places you can, peg this in on his back. And we'll see some other ports as well after the transformation where you can plug this into, and there is weapon storage in the alt mode, which we'll get into as well. But I'll go into that once we go through the transformation. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that transformation. Nice, simple, easy, sort of intuitive transformation. I will admit I actually had to look at the instructions. I was kind of disappointed with myself because I thought I should be able to do this without looking at the instructions, but I couldn't figure out the hands. So it looks like this. And for some reason the instructions have actually got like the head as one of the middle steps, but I always do it first. I always go from the top down. So you're just opening up the back and flipping the head in. It doesn't feel like it goes flush. It's just enough to tuck it away, and then you close up the back. You want to flip, so you flip the hands to the back of the forearm. You break the forearm here at the elbow, rotate it in, rotate this around at the forearm rotation, and then bring the arm back down. This is the thing I couldn't figure out. I thought this like flipped inside the forearm somehow, and I finally broke down and had to look at the instructions. So again, we're just opening up this hand, rotating the forearm around, forearm rotation 180 degrees, and then bring the arm back down. just note inside, so there's actually a slot inside the forearm. The legs, once you get them transformed, they'll actually tab into the arm, and we'll show you that when we get there. So then I typically just flip open the butt flap, rotate the torso around 180 degrees, and then bring this part back down. Open up the back leg panels, open these up like that. Rotate the legs 90 degrees because these are going to make up the rest of the stereo. Obviously, put the feet in. We'll just, oh, I forgot, sorry. Before you rotate the legs, you do want to flip the speakers around. By the way, Fans Toys, this is how you hide speaker panels, not the way you guys did it. My God, your leg transformation on your blaster was ridiculous. Rotate the legs 90 degrees. And then we're just going to close the legs up again. So this tab will go into that slot that I mentioned earlier inside the arm. Continue rotating this piece so that it pegs in. There is actually a tab right here that does peg into the side of the chest. And do the same thing on this side. Tab that into the forearm. And so it's this tab right here will tab into the slot on the chest, and that will lock it into place. Just like that. And then there's actually a tab here and here that goes into slots that make up the buttons, and that actually locks everything into place. And then we have the handles that are pegged in on the back. They just swing up, swing together, and a little pull on either side to tab the handle in, and there it is. And that's a very cool looking, again, there's some details in here, again, that Hasbro could very easily have just ignored, but if you take a slow look over this whole thing, right, you got speaker details here with, basically like woofer braces, right, for the speakers, right? You've got, tweeters down here. You've got, smaller speakers up here. You have dial. Dial is painted gray. This up here is painted gray. All of this in here is painted stuff. The red is all just molded plastic. But you have dial, vent, some additional details like play and pause buttons from the look of it. Forward, rewind buttons here, more dials down here, headphone jack. All of this stuff they could have just very easily ignored, but they didn't. And I have to applaud them for that, because again, even this, if you had it in this mode, would actually look good on your shelf. So I'm really, really impressed with that. There's your speakers on the side, right? These are, from his robot mode. You just have to watch the handles because they do pivot forward. There you go. Backpack, the back of this is fine, right? I mean, there's a little bit of gapping on the back, but again, this isn't something, you're not going to display this figure like this. Otherwise, everything else is very neat and tidy, right? Except for the spacing there, but I mean, whatever. So this is very well done in my opinion. I think this is very cool. If you have an opportunity to grab this, even if you're not into this stuff and you like Blaster like I do, for the price of it, it's almost worth grabbing. Real quick with the rifles, so like I said, there is weapon storage on this. So this tab that's here in the handle, there is actually a tab right here at the very back center that you can tab the rifle onto. And it very easily hides the rifle. You can't see that at all. Interestingly enough, there are peg holes in the top of the handle, so you could actually, I don't know why you would do this, but because I think this actually looks a little silly, right? You could do that, I suppose. You could have the rifle pointing out that way. Not something I would never do. I'm sure there's other, things or accessories or whatever from the other Studio Series figures that maybe you could peg in there. I would just be doing that and leaving it alone. So let's take a look at Eject. Eject is very, very, very simple in his transformation. Again, obviously he can fit in here. Yeah, so I mean, this is as simple as pulling down the legs from the bottom, rotate them forward, and bring them down. The disappointing part about this I found was the legs and the feet are actually in the molded plastic, so it's not like you're flipping a foot out or anything. Again, this is very basic. This is the arm, right? So you're flipping the arm out, rotate it 90 degrees, and the hands are molded into this white plastic as well. Rotate that 90 degrees. Head, as typical with any Cassetticon, is hiding in the back, which sometimes can be a bit of a pain. There, my God, a bit of a pain to get out. If you don't happen to have any fingernails. Anyway, like it says in the back of the box that it's 8 steps. To me that felt like 3, right? Like the legs, the arms, the head, you're done. That's it. There's nothing else. But very, again, so impressive that a lot of this is painted. Like everything that is blue and white on this is painted. There's an Autobot logo that's been painted on the center of the chest that you can, I don't even think my camera can focus on that properly. But it's there. The gold area on his chest, which isn't really gold. It almost looks like mustard, honestly, to be fair. But it's painted, right? So everything on this is painted. And I think the most impressive part, I'm hoping the camera can pick this up. Okay, good. Not too close. There we go. The most impressive part about this is the head sculpt. Like there's a lot more detail going on in this head sculpt than there is in Blaster's head sculpt. But I mean, and to be fair again, right, that Eject's head sculpt was more detailed in the cartoon, right? Again, and if you look on the box art, right, same thing, right? But there is yellow paint in there, and there is blue chrome eyes in there, all painted, right? So all of this is painted. There's vent lines going on either side of his mouthpiece. Same thing in like the crown part of the head. Like that type of stuff is impressive to me. And again, there's detailing going on throughout the chest here. Yes, the feet are molded in there, but I mean, there is still some details in the legs. There is some details in the hands. So it's not, just completely, slacking. And this could have just been square, right? With no details. There could have been no details in the chest. So somewhat impressive that there is some work to put some details in, right? There's line work in the shoulders too. So I do like that. He, unfortunately, does not stand up well because he has no feet, basically, right? Like, unless you have the feet straight up and down, if you sneeze at him, he's falling over. I guarantee it. But a very cool looking figure nonetheless. Right, I almost forgot, because there is still one more thing that's in the box. One more thing, as Apple would say. So with all the Studio Series figures, sorry, I'm just going to move the microphone a bit. With all the Studio Series figures, they do actually come with a diorama backdrop, I guess. I'm not quite sure what you would call this. But they all come with this display, right, which is some kind of iconic scene from whatever series that they're doing, whether it's the cartoon, one of the movies, the cartoon movie, et cetera, right? But this is obviously the scene from when Blaster, Perceptor, Ultra Magnus, Springer, RC, right, all of them, and the attack on Autobot City near the beginning of the movie, where Perceptor goes to Blaster and says, send out a distress call to Optimus Prime. So, right, here's a cool scene from the movie, right, from the cartoon movie, of that attack on Autobot City that you can then display your figure on. Just like that. So that's I guess putting Eject up in front of Blaster's face doesn't really give a cool effect, doesn't lower him down. I guess I don't have the camera at the right angle. Anyway, you get the idea that that's a neat addition to throw into the box. And it has the number of the figure on it as well. And this is the 86, by the way, that shows up on that indentation in the box that I was talking about before. So again, that's some very neat stuff. You know, Transformers the movie logo here for the display. It's just very cool. It's a very neat way to display your figure, and I do again appreciate Hasbro and Takara Toma throwing in something like that with their figures as a display piece. What else is there to talk about with these guys, right? Um, they're mainline figures, not a lot to them, but I do have lots to say about them, given the fact that again it is a mainline figure with not a lot going on in regards to transformation or articulation or accessories. Right? There's literally one accessory, the rifle. But I gotta say, for my first shot into the Studio Series stuff, that this is actually very impressive. I'm a lot more impressed with this than I thought it was going to be. I have seen these things online on other reviewers, people talking about them on the Realm of Collectors groups and stuff like that. Until you physically have one of these things in hand, it really doesn't do them justice. So if you're on the fence about one of these and you see one in your local store, or you know that your local retailer has one, you got a few extra bucks in your pocket, I would go ahead and take a chance on it. Go ahead and grab one and pop it open. See what you think. Come back and leave some comments for me, and let me know what you guys thought too. Because again, it just feels like a much more solid figure than you would expect for something from mainline. Like mainline figures seem to have come a long, long way to me. So. Other than that, I think that's all I have to say about that, guys. So once again, I'd like to thank you very much again. If you did like this, please go ahead and hit that like button down below. I really, really would appreciate it. And as always, if you want to support the channel, please go ahead and check the description down below. I do have some links in there on various ways that you can support the channel. I've also got some more information coming up soon, hopefully next week after I get back from New Jersey and I talk to some of the guys from the Realm of Collectors about some ideas that I have. I'll probably have more ways that not only can you support the channel, but you can also help to support a charitable organization that's very near and dear to those of us in the Realm of Collectors that you can also help out with. I'll probably have more details on that with the next video that I do next week, so please stay tuned for that. And as always, I am the Rusty Mechanic. We'll see you next time.